Hello, beautiful souls. It's Jenny from Starseed Academy. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm in my comfies and I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. And we're going to talk about books, like must-read books for Starseeds. So I raided my bookshelf and I think I've got 7 books here to go through with you. And I tried to put them in order of how they came up in my spiritual journey, because I really felt like there was a flow of the information that was being introduced to me at the time. So like an introduction to the foundation that I would need to build, and then slowly building upon the concepts and the ideas that have brought me where I am today. I love books and audiobooks so much. It's such a great way to get information and make sure that you're taking time for yourself as well, that personal time during the day. So it's a great routine to have, to be reading a book every day, even just a little bit. But I'm also interested in what books are your favorites. So make sure you put in the comment section down below and let me know of any spiritual books or even just like self-help books that have helped you as a starseed or a light worker with your spiritual journey and your spiritual awakening. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk about has such a special place in my heart. This book is about building your foundation, okay? So this is one of the very first books that helped me on my journey, and it's called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And this book is about the foundation of self-love and the foundation of knowing yourself. And you really have to know who you are inside, what's going on inside, and find peace with that before you can go into your spiritual journey with all of its ups and downs, and really like before you can survive a dark night of the soul. So Louise Hay has many books. She also does affirmations that you can get on CD or on audio streaming sites, I'm sure, everywhere. Yeah, she's just this really loving, beautiful soul. She recently passed away, and so she's looking over us all now. Her voice is so peaceful. Like there's something, you really just look up her affirmations on YouTube. Her voice is so incredible. So she pretty much like created affirmations. I mean, I know she didn't, because they've been going for centuries since ancient times, but Louise Hay is what brought affirmations to the forefront in like the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and started getting it really popular again. It's what she used to help herself heal from cancer, and so she's really good about healing the body as well. But this book is more about healing your inner self. And so within, there's like exercises that you do at the end of each chapter. And it takes you from, maybe hating yourself, hopefully not, but a lot of us have been there, to finding a neutral place within, to coming into a place of compassion for yourself, forgiveness for yourself, and then finally realizing what a unique soul you are and how deserving you are of love. And she also chips away at your childhood through the chapters and exercises. So it's like a therapy session as well as a book. And the exercises are really helpful for that. So going through anything in your childhood that may have caused blocks within you, within your energy, and within your body and emotions that you're still holding on to today. So I have bought this book for so many people, and they always give such raving reviews. So definitely my first pick is You Can Heal Your Life, Louise Hay. My second pick today is called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's a beautiful book. Like the cover is so beautiful. The prose is beautiful. It's almost like poetically written. And this book is about getting to know the voice in your head. So the constant narrator that's like narrating your life all around you, what it's doing in there and how to understand it better and how to even become friends with the voice in your head. He goes through a lot of his own personal work that he's done, and he talks about the beginning of his spiritual journey and the things that worked for him. And that's really helpful and relatable in the book. He also explains how to, not just how to become friends with the voice in your head, but how to understand how it can actually help you and help you in your life. He also talks about the logistics of what's going on in your brain when that voice is going and chattering. And so I just find it's like written from a different perspective than anyone else talks about. Like ultimately he is referring to the ego. And so if you've read books about the ego, a lot of those books are about like, you know, cutting the ego out, and the ego is evil, or it's false, or don't listen to it, or you need to like release it or cut it out, or making it into this like enemy, where he comes at it from a different perspective. Like it's there for a reason. It can be your friend. We should never be talking about cutting away any parts of ourselves. Everything should always be about embracing, integration, love, compassion, understanding. If you hate something, then you don't understand it, right? Because if you truly understood where it was coming from, just like people and all things in the world, you would see that it really thought that it was doing what it was supposed to do, and that it was really just trying its best. So I really, really recommend this book if you're looking to find peace in your mind, quiet that voice in your head, and you're trying to get into meditation as well, because he talks about that a lot as well. So again, The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer, such a good one. Following that note, we come now to Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but bless your heart, Eckhart. This book is amazing, and it's A New Earth. So he has also written many wonderful books about spiritual ideas and the ego and how the human brain works and how to find peace and enlightenment. But my favorite is A New Earth. So here's why it's different. So if you've ever read books like, for instance, The Secret, all they talk about in that book is changing your thoughts. So change your thoughts from negative thoughts to positive thoughts, from thoughts of lack to thoughts of abundance. That's fantastic, right? But that's only going to get you so far. Because if you're changing your thoughts to these more positive vibe thoughts, great, but you still have thoughts running in your mind. And so what's different about Eckhart and A New Earth is that it's saying, how about you don't think at all? How about you have a quiet and peaceful mind and see what that does for your life? And I would say that this book is probably one of the most life-changing books that I've ever read. I've read it many times. I've studied this book, highlighted it, footnotes, all of it. And it came to me at a point in my spiritual journey when I was doing a lot of seeking. So in your spiritual journey, at the beginning, you're going to be a seeker. So you're going to be trying to find all the books that you can, absorbing as much information as you can, researching things like near-death experiences, past lives, angels, dreams. You're going to be so into metaphysical and everything to do with the other realms, and you're just going to be like absorbing like a sponge. And that's what a seeker is. And so when this book came into my life, I was reading so many books at the time, like going through many books per month. And this book stood out to me because it was so different, because no one had said that before and then went ahead and taught you how to do it, how to clear your mind of all thoughts, and then challenged you to see how your life changed. And he talks about his own personal experiences as well in the book, living from a place of no mind, no thought. And I gotta tell you, it's a different kind of way. Like, it's a different way of being. So many people have spoken out about this book. A lot of different spiritual leaders, celebrities like Jim Carrey, Oprah, whatever. It's changed so many people. Like, if you just give it a chance and read it, you're gonna see that it's gonna change a part of you. And I keep coming back and reading it because you get to that place of that no mind, no thought, and life around you, it's different. Like, there's this quality of magic to the present moment that wasn't there before. And instead of labeling things in your mind all the time, narrating all these thoughts, when there's nothing, you just appreciate everything around you for the vibe and the energy that it is, and just for what it is, without trying to judge it or put it in a box or understand it, which is what the ego's job is, right? So I don't know, it's a different kind of life, it's a different kind of magic, but it tends to fade. So you'll read the book and you're like so jazzed about this idea, and you really practice it, and you can live that way for a few weeks, few months even, and then you notice like it starts to fade and the thoughts creep back in, and I think that's totally normal. But that's why I reread it, to get myself back to that high point again. So if you're looking for the next level of your spiritual awakening and your spiritual journey, then check out A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. So the next logical step is that once you clear your mind of all the thoughts and noise and busyness, you're going to start to notice things around you. And I'm talking about signs from the universe, okay? Or from your guides, from your team, from source, from your higher self, but signs, synchronicities, the universe and all of those beautiful light beings, including your higher self, are always talking to you. They're always sending you messages. It's nonstop. It's just about whether or not we notice, whether or not we're aware enough, whether or not we're at a level in our own awakening that we can actually take in the signs. And then if we do notice, what do we do with that information? Like, can we interpret it? Do we ask for help? Do we research it? Do we journal about it? Like, are we taking it in and letting it come into our lives? So on that note is the next book, which is so cool, Animals Speak. And this one is by Ted Andrews. So Animals Speak also comes in a card deck, I believe, oracle cards, but I just have this giant book, like it's a big one. So this is about anytime you see synchronistic or coincidental, which there are no coincidences, but say you continually see the same animal. If it's a butterfly, or if it's a frog or a snake or a bear or a deer or whatever it is that you see. So this book, you just look up the animal, and that's why it's so cool, because it's like an encyclopedia of signs that you might be seeing. So Mother Nature, Gaia, is one of the biggest senders of signs because she's alive and she has a spirit and she's able to work with us. So you're going to get a lot of signs through Mother Nature, through the animal kingdom. Okay, so Wednesday's video that I recorded, it was called How to Communicate with Your Guides. During the video, I was absolutely heckled by a pack of crows. They would not leave me alone. So I just kind of thought of that now as I'm holding this book. So let's look up crows and give you an idea of what this book is all about and the kinds of messages that you'll see. And we'll also see where I was being screamed at. Okay, so under crow, there's quite a bit. Like, that's why this book is so cool. It really goes in depth. But there's 2 full pages, but I'll just share some of the things that are popping out to me about crow. So first, the title here says, The Secret Magic of Creation is Calling. So they talk about the color of the crow because they're black and the color of night, but black is also a maternal color. So it's about creation, again, and potential, basically. There's a lot of stuff here about them being magical and a sign of good luck. Again, a lot about creation, even being linked to people's past lives. Wherever crows are, there's magic. They are symbols of creation and spiritual strength. They remind us to look for opportunities to create and manifest the magic of life. They are messengers calling to us about the creation and magic that is alive within our world every day and available to us. That's beautiful. This book is basically like almost like its own card deck in a way. I don't know if you use cards or not, but if you work with oracle cards, you could go through and shuffle, pull out a card, and then when you go into the book to read what the card symbolizes, this is like the book. So the cards essentially then would be the world around you, and then you're finding the meaning for those signs here. So such a cool book. Sometimes I forget to look up the animals that come across my way. Because I live out in a rural area, we see so many different kinds of animals, but what stands out to me is when I see the same one a couple of times within the same day or two. So anyway, try this book out. Very mystical. Love it. Okay, now we're getting into the juicy stuff here. So this book is solely responsible for my Kundalini awakenings. Or at least triggering them. And if you don't know what a Kundalini awakening is, please look it up. It's such a beautiful experience. It's also symbolized in the tattoo on my leg of the snake rising up and then the crown chakra opening. So the Kundalini is energy that sits at the base of your spine. and it comes up through all of your chakras and eventually out of your crown chakra. When that happens, you have an experience of the truth of life, like suddenly you see the oneness. And that doesn't sound like much, but when you're experiencing it, it's like in that moment, you're pulling away the veils and seeing the truth. Like, you know everything in that moment. You understand the universe, how it works, humans, all of the other species, why we're all connected, how we're all the same. Like, it's an overwhelming, like, tidal wave of information. And you're just like, whoa, it's so unbelievable. And you know, if you've had one, then you know how much you want to have another one. Like, it's just like a spiritual orgasm. So this book is called Raise Your Vibration by Sabrina Reber. And this author actually has a Facebook account called Raise Your Vibration. And she's posting like a chapter a day or a page a day or something. That's how I originally found it. And those posts just kept speaking to me. So I thought, what have I got to lose? I'm just going to order the book. Wow. Am I ever glad that I did that? So this book I reread once a year because I'm at a different place in my spiritual journey and in my life personally every year. And so every year I read it in January, like it's like clockwork. And I swear I have that experience every time I read it. Like, I will be reading it and something about the energy that she put into the book or the way that she's written it, I don't know, man. People are incredible, the way that their intentions can affect us, because I will get to a certain point in the book and I will just start to feel that energy building and rising. It's just so beautiful. So Raise Your Vibration talks about a lot. How am I going to sum this up? Well, first of all, she talks about why you should raise your vibration, right? What's going on in the world. And then she goes through each chakra with you, which is super awesome. And you basically read a chapter about each chakra and you get into that flow with it. You sit with it for a few days. You start at the base and you work your way up. I guess that makes sense why I'm having Kundalini Awakenings. Literally, I'm working on the chakras from the bottom to the top with this book. So there you go. But yes, it's transformational. And just like the energy of the book itself, it's very, very powerful. So make sure you're ready for this one. This one's gonna shoot you to the moon. It's gonna make you different. Like, you're gonna be a different person at the end of reading it. It's not just knowledge, it's triggers, it's magic, it's something more. So yeah, check out Sabrina Reber's Raise Your Vibration. The next book I have here is a lot of people's favorite author anyway, Dolores Cannon. She's a favorite author of spiritual awakened people, lightworkers, starseeds, because she just tells it like it is. She created a concept or a healing therapy called QHHT, which is like a different way to hypnotize someone so that it's deeper. You go to a deeper level than anybody else was doing at the time. So she created this herself, and she gets right to, like, through the subconscious to the soul. It's like she's speaking to the soul, no longer the person. The personality that's in that incarnation. Like, she wouldn't be speaking to Jenny, she would be speaking to like my ancient soul. So somehow she gets through all the noise. And when she does that and she speaks to her clients, the answers that she gets are wild. Like, a soul could recount any of its past lifetimes to her, no problem. But even further back than that, you know, coming from source and what its purpose is and how it feels. And like, she even asks it about, like, you know, if she were, use myself as an example, if she were asking my soul, like, so how do you think Jenny's doing in this life? Like, does she need to work on anything? Like, my soul would like talk about me. Like, it's crazy. So it's addictive too, because you just want to keep reading and reading and reading these accounts of these people. But what this particular book, The 3 Waves of Volunteers, is about is how she kept getting the same answers. So she had done hundreds of these readings or sessions, I guess, for people, and they were all saying the same thing. And they were all starseeds, and they were all talking about how they had volunteered as a soul to come here to Earth and help to raise the vibration of the collective consciousness and help Gaia. And it was like basically confirming for all of us that yes, those memories that I have are real. There are so many of us. It's true. We did volunteer to be here. I have a lot of videos about starseeds and why they're on Earth and how they volunteered. So if you're interested in more of that information, go check out some of those videos. But also grab yourself a copy of this. Dolores Cannon is just an author that you should note, because once you read one of her books, you're going to want to read more, because who doesn't want to read accounts of like souls talking for themselves? It's so cool. So yes, awesome book. Get yourself this. The last book that I have for you today, I'm actually not even finished reading yet, so I'm almost done here. You can see I just have like a tiny little bit left, but I wanted to include it because it's been so cool. So this is long title, so I have to read it to you. It's called Divine Architecture and the Starseed Template, Matrix Memory Triggers for Ascension. And this book is by Magenta Pixie. If you like YouTube, you'll probably know of Magenta Pixie if you're a starseed. She's popular on YouTube. I also follow her on Instagram. This book is very cool, but it's not an easy read. Okay, so like this is one of those books when I find myself reading the same paragraph like a couple times. You can't be distracted. It's like a study session. Like the language and the way that it's explained is fairly difficult to grasp in some parts of it. Some of them flow, but I would say that this stands out from all the other books that I've recommended today. This one stands out as like the most difficult read, if you want to call it that, just because it's so complex and the ideas are so complex. Like even the title is a mouthful, right? So, but it's important if you're a starseed to understand how the matrix works for you and against you, and how your physical body can work with that or against it, and how to create your own portals and healing and enter into like new timelines. It's just so much. So even though this book's author is technically Magenta Pixie, it's actually channeled, right? So she channels the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. I've seen other spiritual people channel them as well. Again, that's the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. So it's this group of 9 conscious beings, and she's channeling them. And so it's them talking in the book. So yeah, maybe that's why it's so complex, because they would obviously be like super intelligent and, you know, living above these realms where our minds can't comprehend a lot of this stuff. So I'm gonna have to read it again. But the words themselves, what I wanted to say about this book was that the words themselves are written to create a DNA activation within you as a starseed. And the words and the way that they're phrased in the sentences also are created and written specifically to trigger your awakening. So it says that right in the book, like they say multiple times, these words are going to activate your DNA. These words are triggering your starseed memories. So pretty important part of a starseed library, I would say. So yes, recommending this again. If you want to pick this up, I think I grabbed it on Amazon, which is not great. I know we should be looking, I couldn't find it anywhere else, but you should be trying to get it, you know, at your local bookstores or something a little bit more helpful to like local businesses. And again, the title was Divine Architecture and the Starseed Template. So that's the last book for today. That was all 7. If you're in that seeking phase of your spiritual journey, I just so loved that phase. Like, I admire you. That was so much fun. As you get into more of the proactive phase, where instead of taking in all of the information, you now want to share it with others and teach it, you begin to grow in a new way. So there is so much joy and so much worth in all of the different stages of the spiritual awakening. And I really hope that these books can help you on any point in your spiritual awakening. So if you have any books that I didn't mention that you think are particularly good for Starseeds and Lightworkers, again, please leave those in the comment section below. We all want to learn. We're all looking for books all the time, even myself. So I'd love to check that out. And please, if you could, help a starseed out and like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed, I'm going to ask you to do that as well. Go do it right now. Go subscribe. And if you want to connect with me on a more regular basis and like in a more personal kind of feel, I do daily content. I do daily posts on Instagram and Facebook both. Those links are in the description box below. They always are. So you can come find me there if you want to see a little bit more about my life and see how things are going, and we can chat there too. So thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. Have a great day. Bye.